Hey friends, Kris here with another miracle moment. We call them miracle moments because most people's attention span has got reduced so low because of watching Facebook Reels and YouTube Shorts that they jump from reel to reel and you can't sit down and listen to a long sermon. So a miracle moment. These are little stories that are in fact miracles. Some of them may not seem that big of a deal to you, but they're all supernatural. And I want to talk today on what actually brought me to Branson, Missouri. Why do you live in Branson? Well, I'm not from Branson and I'm not from Missouri. I'm from Nebraska and Iowa. In 1987, I was living in Red Oak, Iowa. As an evangelist, traveling around America, preaching the gospel. Didn't have any connections in southern Missouri. Didn't have any connections in Branson. Never even heard of Branson. But then one day we heard that there's a town called Branson, Missouri that's got lots of tourists that come, and there's all kinds of things to do, theme parks and theaters and country music shows and so forth. So I took my family down there twice. One summer we went down and they didn't have a 4-lane road like we do now. Now listen to me. Back then there was 750,000 visitors a year. Last year they computed at about 8 million that have come to the little town of Branson, Missouri, only 10,000 people. But we've got amusement parks and theaters and music shows and sight and sound theater, plays and shopping and caves and lakes and state parks. And it's a great place to go for a summer vacation. Well, we came down that time. They didn't have a 4-lane highway. They had a 2-lane highway, and it goes down from Springfield and then to Ozark and then up this long hill. And on the right, I saw a church. It's called Oak Ridge Full Gospel Church back then, and had a big white steeple, big black blacktop parking lot, paved parking lot, and it had corners of the building were outlined in native Ozark stone. And I was driving by it and it just caught my attention. And I looked up there and this thought came to my mind. Boy, I'd sure like to pastor a church like that someday. Well, why would I even say that? I was an evangelist, happy being an evangelist, not wanting to pastor. But we drove on into Branson, 12 miles south, and we did our vacation and went home and so forth. Another year we came back, and when we drove up that long hill, it caught my attention again. I wasn't thinking about it, but I saw that church with a big white steeple and parking lot and stone and big acreage, and it caught my attention. And I thought, I sure would like to pastor a church like that one someday. We drove on to Branson, went back home. Well, I didn't have any connections in Branson at all, but I met somebody I guess it was in Atlanta, Georgia, that's from Golden, Missouri, and he invited me to come for a revival. Well, out of that revival, I started getting revivals in Cassville, Missouri with Brother John Atchley, and then in northern Arkansas with Church of God of the Apostolic Faith churches, and had a whole bunch of revivals. And then they decided, let's go ahead and have a tent meeting. And so on the border of Missouri and Arkansas, a little hole in the wall called Car Lane, we set up a 40 by 80 tent, and we packed it every night, Sunday through Sunday, had 29 people baptized with the Holy Ghost. They're falling under the power, dancing in the Spirit, and great miracles were happening, and they came in from far and wide to that meeting. Well, I had a little camper set up that I was staying in, and one day a car pulled in, and a gentleman that was a board member from guess where? Oak Ridge Full Gospel Church, the one that I pointed out. I'd sure like to pastor that church someday. He had heard about the revival, came, knocked on my camper door, and said, we'd like for you to come and preach for us sometime at Oak Ridge. Well, they gave me the Wednesday night after that tent meeting. And, of course, it's a Wednesday night service. The whole crowd isn't there. But we had a wonderful time with Pastor Earl Blansett. And went on home that next day. And it was a wonderful time. And I never thought anything more about it. But they came to another meeting, the board member, and invited me to be their pastor. This is wonderful. And I went and tried out. We had a wonderful time. And I was in a meeting in Potosi, Missouri that next week. And I got on my face and I prayed for the will of God to be accomplished in my life. Lord, what do you want for me? And he said, go and pastor Oak Ridge. And guess what? By August that year in 1987, we were moved to Branson, Missouri, and that has been our home ever since. 6 wonderful years pastoring Oak Ridge Full Gospel Church that is now the Healing River Church with Brother Tim Snyder. And what I'm getting at today is that of all the thousands of churches that could have called me to be their pastor, it was the one that those 2 times on vacation, we drove up that hill and I said, boy, I'd sure like to pastor a church like that someday. Did you know in Psalm 23:3 it says, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord? I could add to that the stops of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And I stopped there on a Wednesday night, miraculous turn of events that brought that church board member to that tent meeting at that time and at that season. And we were able to put our son Joshua in school there in Branson. And we had 6 years of wonderful ministry at Oak Ridge Full Gospel Church. If God did that for us, he can guide you in the same way. You never know what's around the next bend, around the next corner, or up at the top of the next hill. It just might be your destiny. God bless you.